Hey guys, in today's video I want to teach you the Carlos Alcaraz forehand drop shot. And you notice I'm standing on the backhand side, and that's what makes Alcaraz's drop shot so special. Why? Because he likes to run around his backhand. He has one of the best forehands in the world, and players on the other side of the court are expecting a forehand blast, and very frequently, instead of going for the forehand winner, Carlos Alcaraz will pull out a forehand drop shot. Most of the time he likes to hit it inside out. Now, before we get into how to hit this specific shot that Alcaraz likes to use, let's talk about some drop shot fundamentals. And what you have to do on the drop shot, whether it be a forehand drop shot or backhand drop shot, is go high to low. You have to create underspin. If you do this really well, you might even create backspin. Now, what does that mean? It means that when you hit a drop shot, the ball is not going to go through the court. It's going to have a tendency to stop. If you're practicing drop shots, I'd like you to imagine your drop shot bouncing at least 4 times before it crosses the service line. You know that you put a lot of underspin on that ball, and this is indeed a quality drop shot. Also, you want to have a low trajectory over the net. You don't want to hit that thing too high and let it sit up, because it's going to be easier for your opponent to get the ball. So what is the best technique to hit such a shot? Well, you have to hit the ball high to low. So in essence, it's a technique that's very similar to a slice. And let's talk about the differences between a forehand drop shot and a backhand drop shot. Biomechanically, the backhand drop shot, it's a lot easier to execute. And in fact, most players have an easier time hitting a backhand drop shot compared to a forehand drop shot. Now, why might that be the case? Because we can keep the wrist in a more natural position on the backhand drop shot, while on the forehand we do have to bend the wrist back in what I call the L shape. And a lot of players at the recreational level don't have enough control in their wrist, and they like to let the wrist go, and now they lose their chances of hitting a successful drop shot or a slice or a volley for that matter. So all those 3 strokes are biomechanically simpler to execute on the backhand side. So what you have to remember is that when you attempt drop shots, you want to primarily do this from your backhand side. Now, this video is titled How to Hit a Forehand Drop Shot Like Carlos Alcaraz. In order for you to hit a drop shot with your forehand, you have to practice it a lot. And on top of that, you have to develop feel. Now, what is feel? Well, it's basically having the ability to hit the ball softly with your hand, having a loose hold of the racket and absorbing the ball. That is the primary difference between a slice and a drop shot. The swing path might be very similar. In some cases it might be identical, but the difference lies in the fact that we are going to absorb the ball on the drop shot and we are going to hit the ball on the slice. So to understand what I mean by absorption, you have to imagine the racket head giving in at the moment of contact with the ball. It's a feeling of the racket not going through the ball, it's going to go backwards in some cases. This is something that's easier to do when you attempt a drop shot volley, but even if you attempt a drop shot from the baseline, there has to be a lot of absorption, a lot of feel, in other words, if you want to have any success of winning the point with a quality drop shot. Now, when it comes to any drop shot, it's also important that you hit the drop shot in a continental grip, and on top of that, you want to have the racket face slightly open. This is something that differs from a slice. So on the slice, the racket face can be neutral, but on the drop shot, you do want to have the racket face slightly open. Why? Because that's going to increase your ability to make underspin, or in some cases, backspin. So those are some of the drop shot basics, and now let's talk about when to use a drop shot. So at the recreational level and also at the junior level, a drop shot is often a bailout shot when players are tired of the rally going on forever and they hit a drop shot just so the point can end. Also, shot selection is sometimes a big problem regarding drop shots, where players use it in the wrong circumstance. Either they are in a defensive situation far behind the baseline, and of course from back here it's going to be very difficult to hit a quality drop shot, or they attempt a drop shot when their opponent is not in a defensive situation. So you have to remember that the drop shot is perfectly used when your opponent is in distress, ideally far behind the baseline. Then the drop shot quality doesn't have to be that high, and you can convert the drop shot into a winner most of the time. So now let's talk about the specific shot that Alcaraz likes to use, which is an inside-out forehand drop shot hit from the backhand side of the court. So anytime you're hitting the ball inside out, but especially on a drop shot, what you have to imagine is that the angle of the racket face will be the determining factor in which direction your ball is going to go. So when we attempt to hit the ball inside out, we can't have the racket face be positioned parallel to the net. We have to angle the racket face slightly backward in order for the drop shot to go inside out. Now generally, it's always better to hit your drop shots cross court. It is not wrong to hit your drop shots down the line by any means, but if you don't hit your drop shot well enough and you aim it down the line, it's going to be very easy for your opponent to run the ball down and put it away for a winner. When you attempt your drop shots to go cross court or inside out, you have the trajectory in your favor where even if the ball is not so short, it will still exit the court at a steeper trajectory. And here's why Alcaraz's forehand inside-out drop shot from the backhand side is so effective, because when he runs around his backhand, the player is expecting a super aggressive forehand, and the drop shot is a very easy way to hit a winner. And this is what you have to understand. When you run around your backhand, you have to be in a good position in the court, and not only that, you have to get there fast enough. If you decide to run around your backhand, doesn't matter if you're attempting a drop shot or a forehand winner, if you get there too late and you're still moving to the side and attempting a drop shot, you will be completely off balance, and there's a high likelihood you're going to commit a mistake. You have to get there with plenty of time, position yourself firmly into the ground, and now you can attempt that forehand inside out drop shot. Also keep in mind that court positioning is crucial when attempting drop shots from anywhere in a court, but especially from the backhand side. You want to be inside the baseline and ideally as close to the net as possible. The further away you are from the net, the more difficult the drop shot becomes. So now that we know when to use a drop shot, now we're going to talk about how to use a drop shot. So you're going to be somewhere between the Eastern forehand grip and the Western forehand grip, and you want to disguise your drop shot by going into your regular preparation on the forehand. And now what's going to happen as you go into your take back, somewhere in the racket drop area, you have to change your grip. Now the difficult thing is going to be changing the grip just with one hand. You're going to have to flip the racket into a continental grip somewhere in your racket drop. And now here's the important thing. As you start approaching the ball, you're going to come from a high position to a low position. This is how a drop shot is performed. You have to hit high to low on the ball. Now context is super important in tennis, and the technique is going to differ when we get different contact heights. So what you will see from some players is that when they attempt to hit a drop shot on a ball that's below the waist, they will also go down on the ball, but then they will go up on the ball. So it looks like a U shape. It goes high to low and then back up to high. Of course, if you go straight down on a low ball, there's going to be absolutely no chance to get the ball over the net. So when the ball is below the waist, it's very necessary to have a shape of the racket that goes high to low to high. But here's the thing. I never ever want you to attempt a drop shot that's below the waist. Why? Because naturally when you go up on the ball, that ball is going to have a tendency to sit up more. So when is the best time to attempt a drop shot? When the ball is at least at your waist or above. Now you can hit the ball with a high to low swing path, which will naturally give you the lowest trajectory and your best chances to hit a drop shot winner. So how do you practice the drop shot? Well, there are a few things to consider. First of all, you shouldn't practice any shot, especially the drop shot, in match play situations. This is not going to work. You have to practice your drop shots in a non-match play situation, whether you're taking a lesson from your coach, whether you're hitting with someone, whether you're playing on a ball machine, or actually on the tennis wall. It's a really good way to practice your drop shot, which brings me to the next point. The most important thing that you have to consider when practicing your drop shots is the speed of the incoming ball. When you attempt to hit a drop shot of a very soft and slow ball, this will naturally make your swing bigger. You won't be able to absorb the ball, and it will make it very difficult for you to hit a drop shot. So in whichever scenario you're practicing, make sure that the ball that you're drop shotting off of has sufficient pace. Then you can work on the so important absorption of the incoming ball and that high to low swing path. I'm going to feed myself a ball with plenty of pace and plenty of height. I'm going to try to hit my drop shot into that target by absorbing the ball and swinging high to low in a continental grip. And on the first try, I got it into that target. Now I want to tell you one thing about myself as a player. When I was younger, playing in juniors, I had horrible feel. I had terrible drop shots, and as a matter of fact, I had terrible volleys and terrible slice. My game was all about serving big and hitting big forehands and big backhands from the baseline. But I can tell you that as I began to teach, I was forced to hit the ball a lot softer to my students. I can tell you that now I actually have very good feel. I can hit really nice drop shots. I have good volleys. So it just goes to show you that with enough practice, anybody can develop feel. Now here comes the most important part of this lesson. A lot of you guys watching don't have good feel. Do not attempt to hit drop shots when you don't have feel. You have to develop feel first. I made several videos where I show you how you can practice your feel. There are many exercises that you can do to develop that so important soft and steady hand when hitting the ball. If you don't have that and you attempt drop shots, you're gonna make a mess out of them most of the time.